To another example of this hate that just, I've had enough of it all. Prime Minister Scott Morrison, right, has come under all sorts of vicious personal attacks. Well, last night on 60 Minutes, his wife Jenny came on to say that some of those attacks were unfair, leaked emails calling her husband a liar, so forth, and she criticised the appalling rudeness of Grace Tame, former Australian of the Year, to Scott Morrison at an Australia Day function at their home.
I respect people that want to change things, stand up for their beliefs and are strong, but I still think there's manners and respect. I just found it a little bit disappointing because we'll welcome you in our home. I just wish the focus had been on all the incredible people coming in.
Well, that just got her another round of abuse. I've heard an ABC presenter, for instance, who seems to think that Tame being rude was just Tame being authentic, like that was a virtue. And news.com.au, the left-wing arm of the Murdoch media, said Jenny Morrison has copped it as fury grows over a comment surrounding Grace Tame and manners. Joining me is Daisy Cousens, a Sky News contributor, who's all over the social media, what's happening, and has her own YouTube video channel. Daisy Cousens, is news.com.au right? Jenny Morrison has copped her for daring to criticise Grace Tame's manners.
Yes, she has. It is quite extraordinary. And social media has gone off its brain at Jenny Morrison for having the sheer audacity to object to the very juvenile way that Grace behaved when she was coming into the lodge. My heavens, apparently what a terrible thing to do. But the thing is, the reaction has more to do with Grace than it does with Jenny Morrison. You see, the left-wing media and also the lefties on Twitter, they seem to position Grace as this sort of deity, this sort of goddess figure who is completely beyond reproach. She absolutely must not be criticised no matter what she does. It's a little bit weird, but hey, that is the state of social media. And in my opinion, whether she realises it or not, Grace, she capitalises on this. She really does. I mean, nobody should be surprised at all at the way that Grace behaved at the lodge. I mean, she's always had a flair for the theatrical. It would make perfect sense that she would be a bit theatrical when she met Scott Morrison. You know, I understand as a television commentator that the value of a theatrical raised eyebrow or a smirk. The punters love it. The cameras love it. It's a great way of getting a point across. However, I am a television commentator. Grace Tame was the Australian of the Year. It's a little bit inappropriate for her to behave like that, shall we say, and Jenny Morrison had every right to criticise her. But look, Andrew, the bottom line with the Grace Tame interaction with Scott and Jenny Morrison was that, look, if she actually had any guts, she would have refused to shake his hand point blank. That would have been the much more courageous thing to do. That would have conveyed a much sharper, more interesting point. But look, I guess she just doesn't have the chutzpah, and here we are.
But I notice, by the way, that Grace Tame has no trouble at all smiling when she's with Labor figures like Kevin Rudd and Anthony Albanese. So maybe her rudeness is not really about being true to herself, but being a Labor shill. You know, it's just another example of the rudeness of the modern left. But there was another supposed criticism of what we saw last night. Scott Morrison last night butchering on a ukulele a song by Dragon, April Moon in Cuba. And the media left happily reporting that Dragon, the band, was outraged by this cynical attempt by Scott Morrison to make himself look human with their song. Well, ABC host Raphael Epstein was so excited about this that he got on Todd Hunter from Dragon and bombarded him with questions about how terrible Scott Morrison had done, you know, behaved in stealing his song. Turns out this story is fake news, Daisy.
Turns out it wasn't the band member. It was actually his son who had made these very critical comments. And in fact, I find this quite extraordinary. In fact, the band member himself, he said he was fine with it, and he was in fact very pleased at Scott Morrison giving the rendition. I mean, it really goes to show, Andrew, and this is true for all of us. It's important to wait until all of the news comes out, because sometimes the news is in fact fake. Certainly, this was a bit of fake news, and I was quite amused to see the outcome. And look, as for Scott Morrison butchering that song, I found it a little bit endearing. I must say, I've been very critical of Scott Morrison recently, but he did slightly win me over with that ukulele rendition. So look, good on him for trying, E for effort.
Oh, what a sucker you are, Daisy Cousens, honestly. Thank you so much for your time,
I love ukulele.
Daisy. Oh, it goes to your heart. Honestly, what a generational gap, right? The band member, perfectly happy with Scott Morrison playing the song. He says, music has got no boundaries. You put it out there, it's no longer yours. Young son, new generation, wants to use it to make a nasty political point. So, a generational divide.